Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of um Fan View. Welcome to another episode. Welcome to another video where we talk about football, do the things we love. And I'm here with Bola again. It's like nowadays we're going to be having more of Bola and more your show. But Bola, how are you doing today?
Hi everyone, I'm fine. Excited to be here once again, and it's looking like a recent. It's me that you get to see.
Okay, so before we go into today, we're going to say we're now on Twitter, so you could follow us on Twitter and share to other people. And if you are new to this video, please like, share, subscribe, and I promise you more content are going to be coming. So given that
Yeah,
it's the Champions,
we'll
okay,
also be leaving dropping our Twitters and the link to follow us directly on Twitter, like as a description underneath the video.
yeah, yeah, we'll also be doing that too. Given that we have a Champions League match in the next 45 minutes, we're going to make this scene faster. We're going to wrap it up really very soon. But then before we talk about it, everyone is going mad this evening with the news coming out from Fabrizio saying Mbappe wants to leave PSG. And according to reports, what Fabrizio actually tweeted was just in a moment. He said Kylian Mbappe not happy with PSG at current situation is really as current situation is really tensed. He wants to leave the club as soon as possible. PSG feels he's putting pressure on the club and they have no intention of selling Mbappe in January. GB, what do you think this whole situation is all about? Why do you think Mbappe has suddenly changed his mind that he wants to leave?
Um, to me, right, I feel yeah, probably like personally, I feel like it's sort of like what's the word now? Sort of like a bait to PSG. You know, like I feel like it's to bring them to like accept his demands because it's quite obvious that he signed a contract like very recently after Real Madrid tried to buy get him during the last summer transfer window, but signed a new massive contract with PSG. And so obviously Mbappe himself and his agents actually know that it's not going to be easy to prize him away from PSG at January transfer window. Like it's practically impossible or unrealistic. And I think it's more about him trying to bring out this news so that I could probably, bring up this sort of leverage where PSG have to like sort of agree to some of the demands I think he has been making of recent. I think that relates to team play, and I don't know. I can't particularly say because I don't have full knowledge of it. But I think probably after some research, then I could be able to talk about it better. But from what I've been saying, I think it's a matter of Mbappe trying to like demand some particular, how would I say it? I think tactical roles or trying to, evade himself of some instructions and what to do and what's not in relations to the team structure and the team play. And I personally feel like it's quite weird. Like he actually wields so much power, to be honest, in that club. He actually wields so much power. And then he recently signed a very massive contract, which I'm sure his agent, like they have a particular contracts to be loyal to. So it's quite obvious that he cannot leave January because I don't think anybody else can afford him right now aside Real Madrid and maybe Man City. And obvious, I don't think Man City is probably in the market to buy Mbappe. So it's I think it's more of a strategy to force PSG to come to terms with probably what is demanding from them.
Okay, so do you think um Mbappe and PSG agreeing that okay, Mbappe should leave will be the right decision for PSG? Let's talk about PSG on its own. You think the right decision is for them to sell Mbappe?
No, because I feel like if there was any chance for them to have sold Mbappe, it has to be during this summer transfer window where Madrid were willing to offer as much as I think over 200 million euros or something like that. So I think that was like the biggest point at which he could have made so much money over him because at that point he had an expired contract already before he
Mhm.
just recently signed the new one. I think this is like a 2 year deal. This present one is signed. I can't say I don't know the exact sorry. I don't know the exact specifics. They like to be restored soon. I don't know there's a
Yeah.
specifics of the deal, but I think it's like a 2 year deal. Um, so I think it's not something that is probably going to work out for either of them because obviously PSG is not ready to sell. They believe they do. They have enough financial, financial ability to cope with whatever it is. So they're not under any pressure to sell. So yeah, I think with time it's just going to be a sort of PSG and Mbappe trying to meet on the discussion table and saying, okay, this is what I want and this is what we want and let's find a compromise.
Okay, so finally, what do you reckon will happen? What do you think will happen? Do you think Wapi leaves January? Or do you think he needs this? Do you think no, he's not leaving, he's staying till his contract expires?
I think with PSG, what happens is he's probably not going to leave in January because it's quite I think obvious that nobody is able to afford him at this present moment, and he's already under a new contract. If it were earlier in the summer transfer window where he was under no contract and he was under no, it could have been way easy for him to like sign out of the contract, sign out of the contract, and then leave. But now it's a little bit different, and yeah, it's going to be a matter of trying to meet at middle points, and hopefully there is a solution to all of this. Even though I feel Mbappe is really making a big deal out of absolutely nothing.
Yeah, okay, so let's move on. Let's move on. We're moving to the Premier League. This weekend was, well, I say this weekend was a little bit interesting because so many things happened and we got to see some good football, good matches, and everything. But then we're going to start with Man City. Man City trashing Southampton again at Etihad 4-0. Alan scoring, and Cancelo showing us why he's the best fullback at the moment in the world. How impressed were you with Man City, your club, and
I
how
I
bad
mean
was Southampton today?
yes, I think Southampton were quite bad. I think Southampton were very very bad. They were like far opposite of the team that we played against last season. We're far opposite of the team that played against last season. I think last season we were unable to get a win over them, and then it was entirely different. Like the match during this weekend, it was quite obvious like they were outplayed in all departments by Man City, and it was just a matter of time before the goal started to flow in. So um, Man City were impressive still. Um, you know, I think playing at home against Southampton, it's the sort of form that we are in right now. There's this sort of expectations that we have in regards to winning matches like this. But I mean, you still have to go out there and put up the performance. So, um, in summary, I'll just say, it's one of those performances that Man City put up, and then sometimes the opponents are bad, and then make it easy to play through them. And when it comes to Man City, once the goals start flowing in, then that's it. Especially when you have a sort of striker like Alan.
Yeah, not quite long ago, I was watching an interview of Bobatov saying when he was linked with United, why you really wanted to go to United is because when the opposition sees the players in the tunnel, they see Ronaldo Tevez and they see Ronaldo Tevez and Rooney, like they get scared and then before they go into the matches they're defeated. You think right now that's the case of Man City when they see Haaland, they see Foden, Grealish, they get scared and before they
I
get
mean,
into the match, they are beaten.
yeah, I mean, like to be honest, when you're playing against a team that has won the league 4 times in 5 years, you just sort of have this feeling whenever you go to their own stadium. To be honest, right, I feel even without the Alan factor, it's quite, sometimes when you listen to all these other managers in the pre-match press conference and they're talking about Man City, and it's always about how they have to try to like bring up their A game and try to see how they can cause the opposition some unrest, because Man City is actually, aside the fact that it's a team I support, it's actually like a team that has won like like in the last 5 years they've won it 4 times. So it shows like the sort of superiority level that they have in the league at the present moment.
Mm.
And and part of the four times they've won it, they've had a 100 point season once. They've had a 98 point season once. They've had another, I think, about 98 to 92 another. So that shows the amounts of wins that they can get in during the season. So, but I think the extra factor that is added with Alan now makes it more spicy. The fact that no matter how much you might try to defend against him, and then it just happens that it sort of gets a chance at any point in the game, and then bam, it's already a goal and you're a goal down. I mean, he could have scored from like the first 5 to 6 minutes. There was a chance that Foden gave to him, and then it met the inside of the post
Yeah,
before.
I was surprised. I was like, oh, so that could miss that.
So I mean, imagine him scoring like that early. That's almost like a guaranteed hat trick again at home.
Yeah,
So that's how before I started missing some few chances, and then before he finally scored. So I mean, yeah, you're right. So when you're in the tunnel against a team that is playing like on top of their game at the present moment, and they have players like, I think the fact is, since Alan has been here, we've tend to like forget that when teams play against Ireland and they are focusing on him, they forget that there are so many Man City players that could hurt them. And it was
yeah,
quite obvious in the Southampton game, because by the time Ireland was not getting goals, Cancelo had scored, Foden had scored, and Mahrez had scored, and it was already 3-0 before Ireland even got his own goal at 4. So it makes it more difficult for opponents, because you don't know exactly. You know exactly, like, if you want to focus on Ireland, then you have KDB. KDB has not even started scoring. So I mean, it's a team that you probably be scared of if you are playing against them, especially if it's at home.
yeah. Okay. So we're going to move. We're going to move to the next match, which was Chelsea. And before we move to Chelsea, um, are you confident now that the league is yours? I know we've not talked about Arsenal, but like right now, when you see Liverpool's downfall and everything that is going on in the league, are you confident now that the league is yours?
Uh, I wouldn't say I'm confident. For some reason, still, I feel Arsenal is like a title contender at the moment. It's quite obvious for us to see. But I still have my doubts, to be honest, about the longevity of how long you can sustain the title challenge. But it's quite obvious right now that they are probably the best shots like at challenging Man City for the title at the present moment. So we have to give them the respect as is due. But I think this season it's quite weird, because aside Arsenal, there is no like team that's actually challenging for it like full time. I think Tottenham should have been a good shout, but their performances have actually not been equal to the amount of wins that they have. I don't know if you understand. Like, they've had to grind out some wins at times, and sometimes it looks like if they play against a team that actually knows what they're doing, they probably could lose. I
Yeah,
feel if Brighton had a little bit of luck, they could have actually even
yeah.
had three
Better play
consecutive.
them. Yeah,
Yes. So it is. I think what I would say, it looks easier a little now than when you have Liverpool chasing, like, breathing at the back of your neck. But still, you cannot underestimate Arsenal and whatever Arteta is bringing with that team to the Premier League this season.
yeah. Okay, so we'll move to the next match, which is Chelsea. Chelsea trashed Wolves this on Saturday, and they played really well on that day. How I know you didn't really watch much of it because you were watching City and everything, but then I'm very sure you must have seen some highlights. And how do you think Chelsea played?
I think with Potter, they've actually been getting better. That's what I was like. Match after match, they've actually been getting better and improving on themselves. So the match against Crystal Palace was. I'm sorry, I said Crystal Palace. That was sorry.
Wolves,
Please remind me now. Yeah,
Wolves.
Wolves. Right. So the match against Wolves was. I think it was, to some extent, I actually expected Chelsea to win, because Wolves are currently managed. They don't have a manager,
Manager, yeah,
managerless. They've been in quite a bad run of form. They've not been able to score much. They've not been able to offer so much threat going forwards. And then, yeah, I mean, after the Havertz goal, which was quite obvious that Chelsea was going to score at some point, because they've been trying to bang at the door, trying to score. And then the Havertz goal, and then I think Pulisic, right? And then Pulisic goal,
yeah,
and then Goha scored his first goal for
yeah.
So with Chelsea, right, it's been an improvement, like match over match, and then but there are still few issues that Potter would have to fix. I think Chelsea are a little bit more susceptible to transitions now when you compare it to Tuchel's time, but we still cannot forget that this man has not played up to 5 to 6 games yet, so there is still so much room for improvement, and there are still going to be better results and even worse results. So there's still
Yeah.
time.
Okay. Speaking of Wolves, yeah, we've heard that they are trying to get Lopetegui from Sevilla, I guess. Yeah. So how do you think that would be the right manager for Wolves? Or if you're a Wolves, what manager would you like them to go for?
At the moment, I do not. I don't know if there is actually like a manager that is ready to take on the Wolves project right now. There is like let's say top. You know what I mean by like the top icons
Yes.
in management. But Lopetegui is actually a very good shout. I mean, he's done a very good decent job at Sevilla before the terrible season that he had, like this one that he was recently fired from Sevilla. And to be honest, Wolves actually have like when I actually watched Wolves, I actually saw like they actually have like a decent crop of players, right?
Yeah.
Like you see that midfield, like the fact that you can have Ruben Neves and you can have Matheus Nunes and then João Montiel, and then you have Semedo, sorry, you have Semedo, you have I wouldn't say Diego Costa because I feel he's currently at the twilight of his career left to me. But you have
You
Semedo,
don't
you
think, you
have
don't think it's a good signing?
yes, I think it's an emergency signing. I don't think they actually plan to sign him from the start. I think after they signed a striker for the replacement of Raul Jimenez, when the guy
Yeah.
got injured, and then they suddenly had to go get Costa from wherever it was. Even I don't know wherever it was in Brazil that he had to go.
Brasilia club. I don't even know the name of the Brasilia club, but I just know
And they
Brasilia
have to
club.
go and fish him out and say, "Come on,
Yeah.
I think you could help us to the end of the season." But with Wolves, right, I do not know if there is actually a large pool of managers to choose from at this present moment. But Lopetegui is definitely not the worst manager that they could have like
Yeah.
at the end of the match.
Yeah. Speaking of managers, yeah, I don't know. We've not spoken about him much, but Pochettino, we don't know his next job and everything. I know people might say, "Oh, he's a top manager. What are we looking for in Wolves and everything?" But like, I don't think any top club now is looking for a manager. So why not just go to Wolves and everything?
I personally feel Pochettino is probably going to see Wolves as
It's
you
small.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, like a little bit of a step down in his career at the present moment. I mean, after you've coached Tottenham and then you coached the likes of Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe at PSG, I think what you're looking for next is a job at a top club. And football is quite funny that it takes 4 to 5 matches to see a manager at danger of losing his job at times. That's how funny it is right now in football. Anybody could be a danger. It could be a danger of losing their jobs if they don't perform in let's say 10 matches. Like they don't have good results in 10 matches consecutively. And I still feel that the Juventus job is still going to be available at some point. Like aside the fact that probably Juventus don't want to sack Allegri for I don't know for
Yeah.
whatever reason, but is I'm pretty sure is I think is not yet up to a year that he's left his job. So there is nothing bad in like sitting at home for a year and then looking at the top clubs and waiting for the perfect opportunity. And yeah, so I feel with Wolves, Pochettino might just be a little bit above the ladder for them. I don't think he's going to see their project as something he really wants to invest and get working at the present moment.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move forward. We're going to move to Tottenham and Pochettino's former club. They played Brighton, and then I know we've talked about how lucky they were. They got the 1-0 win and everything. But then this seems to be an habit from Spurs right now. They don't play well, but they win. Apart from let's just say, apart from the Arsenal's game, did not allow the derby. Um, I don't think this is Conte's style of football. Do you think this is his style of football, or do you just think he doesn't have the players to fully show his style of play?
To be honest, I feel like he actually has the players at his disposal right now that are willing to listen and then do what like as he wants. But with Conte, right, it's not something that happens as frequently as it's looking like so far this season. But one thing about Conte teams is their doggedness to fight and then win the 3 points, even when the performances do not back it up. But it's becoming quite frequent now for Tottenham this season.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I think I would probably attribute the fact that Son has not been at his best. And then Kulusevski is currently out injured. I think if you actually have a firing Son, and then Kane as is playing presently well right now with the Kulusevski that is fit, I think Tottenham will be able to find it easier to score more goals. And I think one very big issue that Conte is still having right now is this build up part, like build up phase of the game. I think with Conte, he really likes a lot of automations and automatisms. There's a particular way he actually wants the ball to be built out from the play. Probably it's from the keeper to the left centre back or to the right wing back. Some little bit of automatisms in his build up phase, and he's actually not clicking at Tottenham right now. So I think it's more of something to do with spending more time on the training ground. And with Conte teams, I think it's quite obvious that at some point they're going to drop out of the Champions League, whether it's going to be at the group stage or probably they carry it out in the Europa League and then still lose out, or
Yeah.
they get off at the round of 16. And then he has enough time to coach these particular things that he wants to see from the team during
Mm-hmm.
this particular period. So, I mean, I actually expect Conte to improve performances and results. I think Tottenham fans couldn't argue more than now because I think points wise they're actually still doing great on the table to be honest. But performances might suggest that with time it might just be a little bit over than what they're supposed to have. But yeah, it's still 9 games, like I said, and there's still much more time to either improve or get worse.
Yeah. So let's talk about Brighton. Since Potter has been there, yeah, we've always been saying they play good football, but they don't finish. And yes, Sunday was a this thing was to show that yeah, his statements are clearly true. They don't finish their chances and everything. Is it personnel? They don't have the striker. They don't have a top quality striker, or is it?
I
Oh, what
think
do you think?
I think I think when it comes to Welbeck is not really like an out to out striker playing in that Brighton setup. It's more
Yeah.
like coming deep and trying to interact with the play, giving chances to others to enter into the space that he has vacated. And I think with the match against Tottenham, it sometimes just comes to the fact that probably luck is not on your side, or sometimes you just have to give praise to the opposition's defending that Tottenham were actually quite compact and very deep, and then did not allow so many clear cut chances. What they allowed was like probably you trying to attempt your shots from the edge of the box or trying to play more shots from outside the box, and then that's lower XG and then lower chance of scoring.
Yeah.
And I think yeah, it sometimes happens. We cannot forget that it's the same Brighton that scored 3 goals against Liverpool, and then also scored 4 against Man United at the beginning of the season. Was it 4 or 3? I can't remember vividly.
2-2. It was two.
It
Brighton.
was it 2?
Yeah.
Oh,
2-1.
it was Brentford that took
Brentford.
one.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, we cannot seem to forget that they've actually had their own matches where they scored goals this season, and sometimes it just happens like that. Sometimes it just happens like that. You play well, you don't get the win because luck is not on your side, and at the same time, giving credit to the opposition, their defensive compactness was way better than easily break down for clear cut chances. So yeah, I feel we are still going to see Brighton scoring more in comparison to other seasons, and yeah, maybe finishing in the top half.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, my guy is still making me proud, still chasing Alan Harry Kane. So it was a very good victory for Spurs. I know you might say, oh, this guy again has come again, but I still believe in Harry Kane. But
Yeah, I
then
mean, if it's on the fact that Alan has actually made it seem quite ridiculous, I reckon he's having an excellent season. So
yeah, yeah. Okay, so we'll move to Manchester United. But then before we move, please, I'm seeing you guys watching. Please, if you have any comments to comment on the video, if you have any opinion, please say it, and I promise you, we'll try and read as much as you can. So please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So let's move to Manchester United. Manchester United against Everton. And as a Manchester United fan, I'll say this is the closest I've seen Manchester United play to Ten Hag style since he came. I know people might say, "Oh, what am I saying?" and everything, but like for the first 35 minutes, I saw Manchester United play some good football under Eric Ten Hag. I don't know if you watched the match, but then
I did to some extent.
oh, okay. So how impressed were you with Manchester United?
Okay. I wouldn't say so much impressed, but I mean, there is actually like a very good improvement from the match that they had against Man City that they know that they lost
Yeah,
6-2 in comparison to this. And then, to be honest, you also have to take into the consideration that as at the points that Manchester United were playing against Everton, Everton had the best defense in the league. They've
yeah.
actually considered like the fewest number of goals in the league as at that point before the match against Man United. So
Mm-hmm.
you actually have to give Man United that credit. But I think some particular moments of the game had Casemiro, giving away balls. Like I think the first goal he was a little bit responsible
Yeah,
for
he
that.
was. He
Even
was.
though he was actually put under pressure, like by the pass from Dalo at that particular point. It
No,
was
it was
like
Anthony. It was Anthony that passed.
it was Anthony. Sorry,
Yeah.
yes, sorry, Anthony. It was like there was this present trap. Like at that point, he could not turn easily with the ball. Then Everton players were able to press him, capitalize on the error before he will be scored there.
Yeah, but okay, sorry. On that, yeah, I know. On DSTV, yeah, we saw some this thing, them analyzing it and saying, but then as a player, as a midfielder, like, isn't it are you not meant to always look over your shoulders to see if they are actually coming on you and everything? Like, I don't get why people blamed Anthony for passing that ball there, but I feel like as a midfielder, you should be able to check your shoulders to see. Oh, what do you think?
Yes, yes. Actually, as a midfielder, you should be able to check over your shoulder, see who is coming, and then who is pressing. Well, I think at some point, right, like there is a particular point where you are probably facing your player, and then it's the one that is going to give you the pass, and then it's the one that is seeing what's happening, like at the back. Is the one that's actually knowing, like if it's best to give it position at that point, or probably give it to someone that's better
Oh,
placed.
okay, okay.
I think a very good example was the pass that they had it to Ericsson in the match
Ericsson.
against Brentford.
Yeah.
Like it was, I probably would have expected Ericsson to like do better with the ball and then be more protective of the ball. But we could all also agree that the pass from here puts Ericsson into a very very tight and complicated position. So it's as long as it's a team game, we are supposed to like make it easy for ourselves to get into
Okay.
the best of our abilities.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, I would. That's what I'm saying. Like I wouldn't exactly absolve Casemiro of the blame, but I also think at some point he also had like some lapse, and at some point his quality showed like exceptionally. I think the goal that Ronaldo ended up scoring,
yeah.
Casemiro was in possession of the ball, he lost it to I think Iwobi, and then he gained it back, and then immediately then he released the pass to free up Ronaldo on the transition before he scored his goal. So
Yeah.
I would say it's an improvement in performance from Man United, especially given from the last outing that they had in the Premier League. And
Yeah.
I don't know who you're playing against next. And
Newcastle.
you, oh, okay. I think that's going to be like a way tougher test than Everton was.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be like a way tougher test than Everton was because Newcastle are quite a team that could offer so much more, so much problem to you. Like they could make life so difficult for you. And yeah, I think it's 3 points against the best defense in the league at that point. And yeah, a great way to move forward and focus on the next one to get.
Yeah, we're not going to dwell too much on United and everything, but then last time we were on this show, yeah, you said um Messi, what Ronaldo has done over these years has been brilliant, always pushing Messi to go to the next level and everything. And then this is his seventh already career goals. Just say something about Ronaldo.
I mean, sometimes, right, when Pep is usually asked in the press conference about Haaland and then what he thinks, Pep just says, "Come on, just look at the stats yourself. Like they speak for themselves. You don't have to say much for you to see
Yeah.
what's happening, right?" So I mean, I don't think I have to say much for it's quite obvious for you to score 700 goals for club at this stage. It's quite ridiculous because it's an insane level of consistency, and then scoring goals, season in, season out, repeating it and trying to do it. This season is a little bit, yeah, Ronaldo is not playing at his best level, but because of the amount of levels that these guys have shown over the years, it's quite absurd. Like, someone scoring 700 club goals, and you're like, wow, like that's an average of how many goals over 15 years. That's crazy for you to score that sort of amount of goals. So is a goat. Not mine, not my goat, but is one of them. Like, he's up there. Like, I do believe, like, probably top three, top four. You cannot remove Cristiano Ronaldo from the greatest to ever have played the game. So I mean, it's stats speaks for themselves, like I said, and it's absolutely quite reasonable why anyone will, in their opinion, think he's the greatest player. So yeah, you always have a case to make if you say that.
Yeah. On that, I was going to say something. Who do you think will be the one to break Ronaldo's goal scoring record and everything? Do you think Haaland can break it?
I mean, if he could keep himself fit and consistent for 15 years, maybe it's quite easy for us to, like, because of Alan scoring at a ridiculous rate, and then scoring and banging in lots of goals. Uh, Football is quite funny, and sometimes could be unlucky for some players. Like, they show the best, and then injuries, and then so many things come into play. But if he's able to keep the amount of you know because the amount of goals he's scoring, and the consistency, the insane consistency that Ronaldo has shown over the years.
Mhm.
Maybe could be in the shouts, but I can't say like I expect him to do it, because, to be honest, it's quite a crazy amount of goals when you actually look at it.
I mean, I know you guys might be as shameless as United fans now. We are celebrating record breaking, where you guys are celebrating trophies. But then let's move to Liverpool and Arsenal. And this is a game that had so many controversies and everything. First of all, let's start with the Gabriel's handball. Was there a penalty? Yes or no?
To me,
Yeah.
yes. To me, I actually felt it was a penalty, and I actually think that there's a case for some replay angles that probably show that the ball hits some part of his chest before his arm. But led to me, I feel like his arm was actually, like, not in the natural position in country, like, in regards to his body. I felt like it's one of those calls that the ref could have said a penalty, and VR will probably not overturn it. So it's one of those decisions, like, since the ref said no, it's not a penalty, and then it's not like a clear and obvious error, so that I think it's fine, you can just leave it, and it's okay, it's not a penalty. But if it was actually taken as a penalty too, I do not think the VAR would have overturned it at any point. So
Yeah.
that's me.
Okay, so the Thiago zone on Josef. Was he
On
on Jesus?
this,
Yeah, was there a penalty
yes,
on?
I do not think it's a penalty. I do not think it's a penalty. I think Jesus made it, um, you know, made it. What's the word now? Sold it than it should have been. But I think at such moments in the game, such an high-tense game, you really have to avoid making decisions like that, because it could quickly and easily go against you. So, like I said, we could argue about the decisions all day, right? We could argue about the decisions all day. But at the end, uh, there's one thing that just annoys me about Premier League referees is just the lack of consistency. Lack of consistency across several decisions that they make. So you could see tomorrow another match being played, and that sort of scenario that happened, Jesus and Thiago, happens again, and the penalty is not given.
Yeah, but
And
then sorry, I don't know. Like, I get a lot of people say lack of consistency and everything, and I don't really understand that because you don't expect the same. You don't expect a human being to be the same. Like, you don't expect if this ref gives this other ref has to give this. Like, I feel like every ref has their own interpretation of the law and everything. That's what I'm saying. So
yes, yes, that's very true. That's very true. So the lack of consistency that we're saying now is not in regards to the ref, it's in regards to VAR. So like VR is actually supposed to make some of these decisions like better, try to offer some like insights that probably the normal eye wouldn't have caught in real time. When it's slowed down and repeated several times, probably it makes it easy for you to like see some of the decisions and make better decisions, right? But we notice that sometimes VR lacks this consistency. Like whatever VR probably might call a clear and obvious error today, might certainly not be a clear and obvious error in the next match. So the lack of consistency, I would say, is not from the Premier League refs. Even the Premier League refs, I feel like sometimes they can be quite annoying. But I think it's more of a VAR thing. It's more of a VAR thing left to me. And yeah, I think when it comes to technology, there's supposed to be like some sort of high level of consistency in terms of decisions. But yeah, sometimes it looks like it doesn't apply the same at every time. Which there should always be a margin for error. There should always be a margin for error, but it should be as low as possible, which I don't think is that low in this case.
Okay, we have about 5 minutes before we wrap up the show, so we could release you to watch Man City. But then, before we go into the FA investigation about the racist comment and everything, what do you think is going wrong at Liverpool?
I think you asked me this question last week, and I was like, I really cannot say because they've scored. Like one thing I noticed about Liverpool is this season they found it quite easy to concede a lot of early goals, right? Like you just see the time at which Martinelli scored his first goal. Like that's way too early, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah.
And like they sort of seem to get into this habit of considering very early goals, and then they try to drag themselves back into the game. And then there is this lapse of concentration from a defender or someone in the back line, and then the opponent gets back into the game, and then suddenly from there it's more about sort of a cat and dog race. Well, I thought against Arsenal, they played well in some moments of the game. I thought in some
Yeah.
moments of the game they were absolutely playing well. But there is this mental fragility I'm seeing in Liverpool right now, in which it seems like every time an opponent team is running towards their goal, it seems like anything could happen. Like it could be a goal. It seems like every time an opponent team is running towards Liverpool,
Yeah.
it could turn out to be a goal, which is like quite unsecure. I think the last time I saw something like that was under OGS before he was sacked, where every time a team was attacking Man United and Maguire was in the defense line, it seems like a disaster was waiting to happen. Like so, like what is going to happen? What's Maguire going to do next? Or
Yeah.
what disaster is going to happen next? So I think that's something I'm seeing from Liverpool this season, which is quite unlike them. And now they started having injuries again. Now, Arthur Melo, that was brought in as the midfield replacement, is out about 3 to 4 months. Luis Diaz, which has been like their brightest spark this season, alongside Firmino, is out for like 10 games. I think Trent Arnold is out. I think Joe Matip is out. So it's not looking like a good road. Like it's not looking. The future is actually not looking so good for Liverpool right now, and I think there are not still so many managers I can still back to turn the situation around aside Klopp. So I still feel Liverpool fans, which it all looks like they just have to like accept the fact that it's just like this now, and we just have to stick with him and hope even if he cannot bring us back to how good we've been, at least get us into this sort of I think with this way Liverpool is playing, anybody that is coming to play them do not have this sense of fear,
Yeah.
like you mentioned
Again.
earlier when you are playing Man City. So
Hmm.
like with Liverpool, it's now looking like I have this shot of I could probably get a draw, even beat them at times. So it's making it more difficult now because there is this like mental fragility that is looking obvious in the team, and hopefully with time they can solve it. And if they don't solve it, it could be disastrous for them this
Yeah.
season.
I mean, Man City is going to Anfield next season. Next week. And I'm praying, fingers crossed, Man City gives Van Dijk his first loss as at Anfield because that's what I've been. Van Dijk has not lost at Anfield. Blah, 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 blah. Before we go into the racist comment and everything, talk about Arsenal. How impressed were you with Arsenal this weekend?
Yes, I think very impressed. Very impressed. Very impressed. It's quite obvious that Arsenal is the title contender at this point. They play such good football. They a big contrast from the Arsenal we saw last season is those moments where probably you are playing well and the opponent gets back at you, score a goal, and then you have to dig deep again and then try to find a goal for yourself. Try to bring this sort of performances that you have to whether you are probably playing well and then results don't go your way at some point in the game you have to deep in the game again and then try to enforce yourself on the game. I think that's something we're seeing from Arsenal that we didn't see from them last season. Now it's like if you score Arsenal, they are ready to score back and then try to get back at you during the game. But still, I still have to say how I'm not fully convinced by their defense because I still feel like they are quite susceptible to actually conceding. But I think what they've been doing so far this season is if you're going to score me 2 goals, I might as well score you 4 or 5. So they're actually in a very good scoring form at the moment. They're still conceding goals. I don't think they've been the best defensively. Sometimes they're conceding goals, but they've actually found it quite easy to score those goals. And yeah, it's looking really really exciting for Arsenal right now. And yeah, hopefully they don't win the league or do not get to contend the team for as long as they want to. But yeah, I think they are showing their fans some improvements from what it was last season.
Yeah. Thank you, Emmanuel. Emmanuel said Liverpool will make top 4 this season. Thank you for your comments. Keep on bringing it on. So
if Liverpool actually make top 4 this season, at this rate, honestly, I don't think they would. But like I said,
I
I
mean, they've been in this
feel
position before. During COVID.
yes, not this early, not this
Yeah,
early. But they've
Trusha.
actually been in a position where they lost so many matches like in a row, especially at home. That time, Burnley beat them. They lost to Aston Villa at some point,
Yeah,
7-2. And yeah, that time so actually that time they actually had lots of injuries to their back
injuries.
line. Yeah, but this time I don't think it's just the injuries. I think it's something that relates to the team and what is actually happening in the team. I think what people try to think out is formation in the match against Arsenal. He started with a 4-2-3-1, unlike the 4-3-3. I think Fabio started on the bench. He started with the double pivots of Thiago and Anderson, and then he had Jota, Nunes, Salah and Luis Diaz all playing on the team like in the team at the same time. But still, they still get to concede first and early. So yeah, maybe the way it's looking right now, they might not get to the top 4. But yeah, yeah, it's just 9 games too. It's still 9 games. We cannot forget.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move. But first of all, before you start talking, I want to say this is us making our assumptions. I'm not saying it's true and that's said anything or anything. It's just alleged. But just coming to say, okay, we thought you said it or we thought you did say it and everything. So GB, what's your opinion on what happened on Saturday?
So I think I read something this morning on Twitter, and it was like someone
Sunday.
saying, I think Anderson said something about it being like a monkey business or something like that. Like I think like the sort of phrase he made. Now that is not like exactly proven that that is what he said because
Yeah.
I also read the report that the FA is trying to make more investigations, probably get a lip reader and some eyewitnesses so that hasten up the investigation and know what exactly transpired between the players. But it's quite obvious that there's no room for racism, and there is absolutely no chance for you to be offensive to a fellow player in regards to their skin color or their nationality or whatever personal indifferences that you have. But like we said, we still have to wait for the FA to do the investigation, and they will get to find out what actually happens. And if it is that he actually said what he was not supposed to say, then I think we should actually face the consequences
Yeah.
as
Okay, what punishment would you like to see given? I mean, well,
now.
black men.
Personally, I feel like with racism, I really don't like. I feel like it's one of the worst things you can ever do to a fellow human being like yourself. And just banning him for 3, 4, 5 matches sometimes seems like a slap on the wrist. And to be honest, I would rather if you are caught making a racist remark or a racist comment, you probably like get suspended for the rest of the season or you have to do something that like involves you trying to educate your community, trying to like actively, then you show yourself actively trying to improve, like show yourself actively trying to learn, because sometimes you just give people fines and punishments and then it doesn't change anything.
Mhm.
But if you are caught for something like that, you are given the fine and the punishment, and also you are mandated to probably find a way to like contribute to the resources that you have as a footballer. You are entitled to some amount of resources and opportunities, and then you are mandated to use that sort of platform that you have to reach out to others and then make yourself as an example, trying to show people what is bad and what's not, and then why it shouldn't be like that. Trying to make yourself a scapegoat actively, and trying to make sure that the kids out there, they're probably watched to do such an offensive behavior or something like that are probably learning from me, and you are coming back to say it shouldn't be like this, it's unacceptable, I'm sorry, and then I'm trying
Mhm.
to show that this is what I can contribute to make sure that people avoid this in the nearest future. So I mean, aside the fines and the punishments, it should be mandatory for anybody caught of such terrible, terrible acts to make it mandatory for them to get back to the community and apologize and actively show that they are willing to change the community and everybody, and affect one or two people's idea of how to treat a fellow human being like yourself.
Yeah. I think that was well. That was well said. Thank you very much for coming again. Thank you, viewers, for coming to watch. And Bola, thank you for sacrificing your time. I know your match has started. Can't wait to go and watch your match. Let's just say, give us your sign off and what's your score prediction for Man City's
Okay,
match?
yeah, it's exciting. I'm here again. I mean, it's really wonderful for myself to have the opportunity to be here every time. And yeah, looking at the lineup now, we have Julian Alvarez, Grealish, Mahrez, Gundogan, Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, Sergio Gomez, Laporte, Akonji, Cancelo, and then Anderson. So it's a pretty strong lineup. And we've actually beaten them 5-0 last week, and
Mm-hmm.
then I don't expect it to be that free flowing like that because they're actually playing at home. So yeah, maybe a 2-0 victory or 3-1 will be enough.
Uh, um, thank you very much for coming, and thank you viewers for coming to watch. And if you have any opinion on anything that we didn't say, please put it in the comment, and I promise you we'll try and read as much as possible. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Lovely to be here. Bye.